Introduction to vectors, question 3. So in this question from a given diagram, we'll try to figure out what the vectors are. Okay, so the question here is, vector representing speed of airplane and wind are shown in the figure below. So this figure gives you speed of plane and wind, right? So we have used the word speed, actually it should be vector, velocity, right? Anyway, so this is kind of a coordinate plane drawn small here to help you out how to find the angle. So VP represents the velocity of the plane, and VW, which is this direction given here with a small arrowhead, is the velocity of wind. So as you can read from the diagram, it shows that velocity of wind is 60 kilometers per hour, and this small angle is 15 degrees right there. And as far as the plane is concerned, so this arrow, which I'm pointing with this arrow, orange, right? This one which is going upwards, this line is what we are referring to as velocity of plane, right? From here to there, it is 300 kilometers per hour at an angle of 68 degrees west of north, correct? So that is the velocity of this plane. And the velocity of wind here is 60 kilometers per hour. So that's the velocity of wind which you need to write about. And that angle we have given to you, right? So now let's read the question once again. Question 3 is, vector representing velocity of airplane and wind are shown in the figure below. Describe the magnitude and direction of each vector in words and symbols, right? So I would like you to define your vectors, which are already defined, and describe them in magnitude and direction, right? So do that and then look into my solution, okay, or my suggestion or answers, correct? So first make an attempt of writing so that you get used to writing vectors in proper way, right? Here are my suggestions. So when we try to describe a vector, we need to specify two things, and those two things are magnitude and direction, right? So what we should do is, let's say I'll describe the vector which represents velocity of airplane, VP. So VP is our vector, say VP as a subscript, and this thing bar on the top indicates it's a vector. We need not always draw arrow on the top. Even a simple bar represents a vector, correct? And when we are typing it out, bold letters will represent vectors, correct? So VP is the velocity. We say vector VP is, so we are trying to describe it in words, right? Is 300 kilometers per hour Now we have to give direction to this, right? So what is the direction? To give direction for planes, the best thing is to always write it in terms of bearing angle. So if you see, this is your north, right? And that is the direction in which plane is going. So from here, the angle is this much. And we have already given angle from north, that was 68 less than 360, right? So we can calculate 360 degrees minus 68, correct? So if we take this out from here, we get 292 degrees, correct? So that is the angle of bearing. So we say, so VP is the velocity of airplane, which is 300 kilometers per hour at bearing of 292 degrees, right? So that becomes the first vector. And then for the wind, so wind is coming from the south direction, right, and going in this direction, right? And what is this angle? Now as you can see, this is kind of like this. Let's extend this arrow. And here we are given 15 degrees. Now this 15 degrees is opposite to this 15 degrees. Do you see that? So if you see from north, so it is going in this direction, correct? So it's 15 degrees, right? So the angle, bearing angle here is 0.15, and the magnitude here is 60 kilometers per hour, right? So here I'll show you when we can write like this also. Velocity of wind, right? So I can write here as in two components. One is the magnitude, say velocity, wind, magnitude. So if I have to write magnitude, I should write it in bars, right? Of wind is equal to 60 kilometers per hour. And the direction is bearing of 15 degrees, so 0.15 degrees. So that's one way to represent our vector, right? So I've shown you two different ways, writing in words and writing in symbols, right? So here I'm using this symbols, right? And the angle could also be given in terms of how much is from north or from east, right? So this angle we can say it is 15 degrees east of north, right? So we could also write this angle as east 15 degrees north. That's another way of writing. Similarly, we could have written this angle, which is 68 degrees, and from north it is towards west, right? So we could have written this as, let me write different ink here, west 68 degrees of north. Do you understand? So we could have written like this also, right? So when we say symbols, then we can say velocity 600 kilometers per hour, comma, east 15 degrees north. So that is in symbols, where magnitude is this and direction is this, right? So these are the ways we can write our vector, right? So I hope you understand and appreciate. So we are translating geometric representation into words and symbols, right? So this will help us to do some calculations later. I hope you understand and appreciate it. Thank you and all the best.